Here comes Kelsey.
Good.
Here,
All right.
Kelsey.
I'm gonna wait one more minute.
Okay.
I think I'm averaging a Zoom meeting a day, which I
Oh
know
my gosh.
less
Oh
than
my gosh. Or you.
for being retired,
Crazy.
it's ridiculous.
I think my average is about 5.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
No fun.
Yeah.
Put mine around like 8, 9.
You wonder how you
Sorry.
get anything done during the day.
I don't get
Yeah.
anything done during the day.
Right.
I find a lot of webinars that are really interesting. The Missouri Prairie Foundation puts on a lot, and the Garden has some. And you could sit here and do 3 or 4 hours a day
Mhm.
informative meetings.
Yeah, but that's you're choosing to do that.
Those are fun.
That it's nice
Yeah.
outside. I may choose not to do so many of them either.
I did attend an author
Yay, Lynn.
virtual with Emily St. John Mandel, was I think a week ago or so. You know, she talked about the Glass Hotel and
Mhm.
like that. I tell you, she looks like the picture from her first book. She still looks like a 19-year-old
Mhm.
girl writing, and she's very perky too. You know. All right, why don't we go ahead and get started? Hello, Lynn. How are you?
Hi,
I'm
Lynn.
doing okay.
Good. Good.
Great.
We're all
I've
doing
lost y'all. There you are.
okay. Let's get started with the call to order and attendance, if you would, Cindy, and make sure we got a quorum.
Okay. Ed,
Yep.
Jeanette,
Yes.
Lynn,
Here.
Cindy here. Angela's not here yet. Kelsey,
Here.
Lori,
Here.
Kathy R. Here. And Gary, we know isn't working tonight for the polls. Jenna
Here.
and Kathy. And so we do have a board quorum.
Thank you very much. I will again announce that we are having a Zoom meeting due to the COVID virus, and in accordance with the opinion of the Missouri Attorney General's office, it's available on live stream Zoom and will be recorded. So we appreciate everyone's patience, and hopefully it won't be too much longer, and we'll be able to see people in person.
Yay.
My quote tonight is from Carl Sagan and billions of unreturned books. Now, Carl Sagan said, "Our concern for the future can be tested by how well we support our libraries."
Hmm.
That was a good one. He is he was quite a wise person.
Billions and billions of wonderful sayings.
The agenda has been sent to you. Are there any changes or additions? And if not, we'll take a motion to accept the agenda as submitted.
I move.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, no. Thank you. It's been accepted. The minutes of our prior meeting of March 2nd, 2021, you all have seen those. Are there any changes to the minutes as submitted? If not, is there a motion to accept the minutes of March 2nd as submitted?
I move.
It's moved by Jeanette, seconded by Kathy R. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, no. Thank you very much. Hey, Angela, how are you?
I got you, Angela.
Sorry for being late. Having computer problems. Internet.
Oh.
Computer problems in America? I can't believe it. Unbelievable. Well, we're glad you're here.
Good evening, everyone.
The public comments section. Our meeting is being recorded, available online. Are there any members of the public here wishing to speak? If not, again, any public questions or comments are always welcome, may be directed to Jenna and her Citadel on Rosalie. All right, aldermanic report. Kathy, what you got for us?
Not a lot. Everything just moves along. The city is busy looking at the employee pay scales. There's one for fire department and police department and one for all the other departments. And we hire someone every couple of years to come in and take a look at those. The idea is Brentwood at this point aims to pay in the 75th percentile, so that of the comparator cities, we're not necessarily paying the most, but we certainly don't want to be average or below. So we're looking at those. And other than that, we hope to meet in person on May 3rd at City Hall. But there's nothing specifically that deals with the library. So if you have questions, I'll be happy to answer anything.
Any questions or comments for Kathy and the city?
Kathy, I work down by our new area, and I saw that the dog park had been ripped out. I wonder if any of that had been saved for future. The dog park.
Oh, it'll come back. This whole Brentwood Bound project will take about 1.5 years. And a lot of the problem is the piping underground is enormous. When you see a map and you see the layers of pipes that are in there, it's just amazing. And they're putting in, they call it a horseshoe, and it's 72 inches high, and it actually goes in a horseshoe. So they're having to dig a lot of dirt out to be able to put that in, and then to connect that, once that hooks up with the present one, I don't know how they manage it, but it will cost $1 million just to do that hookup. So once all that is done, then everything will go in. We're looking at plans for a event building / comfort station near the dog park. So it won't be done next summer, I don't think. It would be nice, but I'm not real hopeful.
Well, I was just wondering if the fencing and the things that had just been put in are being saved, or whether they're.
No, I think they're being saved. Those
Okay, good.
from Clayton, because Clayton had to close theirs. So because the project clears. So Clayton came over to use ours and brought all that over. And as far as I understand it, we're keeping that. So I'll check.
Okay.
If it's different, I'll get back to you.
Okay.
Any other questions for Kathy? Okay, thank you. Library director's report. Jenna, you sent us another very colorful report.
Yeah, I try to keep it colorful.
Some of your staff might need some work on their handwriting, or is that from a kid?
I know. Yeah, we had a classroom from the early childhood center write thank you notes because their teacher always comes over and checks out like 50 books, every few weeks, and she had them write thank you notes, which was so nice. And then she also brought us cookies or something. It was just so nice. People are great. What can I say? Yeah, we opened last Thursday for our our soft opening, and so far it's been pretty quiet. I did talk to other libraries. They're having kind of the same quiet start. People are happy to be coming in. Most people aren't staying long. I've only had a few computer users. Most people are just kind of coming in, getting their holds, leaving. I haven't had a couple of families come in and look around, maybe stay for 30 minutes and then leave. So it's I've been the greeter. So I stay in I work in the little atrium and just make sure that people have their masks and know what our rules are, and then I can be the enforcer if I need to kick people out or But it's been nice. I've been able to get a lot of work done because it's been so quiet. So I have a feeling like I don't know, More towards summer, I'm sure, as we get more open. I feel like we'll have more families after school is over, you know. I feel like that's all I've got. The only thing I didn't put on there that I just thought about was that the Missouri State Library announced today that that they're getting like $3 million in that Recovery Act fund. So there's going to be lots of grant opportunities coming up. And I know that some of the other libraries are talking about, we're doing, I'm on a committee to look at RFID, which is the radio frequency, to maybe convert our collection to RFID, which would be lovely, but it's very expensive to do. We would have to keep the barcode, so it'd have to be a dual system because not every library would probably do it. But so we're seeing if maybe we could get some money for that. That would just make self-check so much easier. People just, you know, put the stuff on a pad and everything gets checked out at one time instead of scanning each book. So yeah, so we're looking into that, and also like more technology like hotspots and laptops. So does anybody have any questions?
Where's the book club going to meet?
Yeah, so we I was just talking to Cindy about that because I'm trying to decide which lot would be the best lot. So I'm thinking just one of the lots next to the library. The one is flat, but it might be a little shady at that time of night. So the one that's right by the post office would probably be the best, but it's a little bit like on an incline. So I don't know. I figure our group probably won't be too big. If it doesn't work there, we can move over to the other one, you know.
Do we need to bring chairs?
If you have a camp chair that's easy to move, yes.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'll bring some. We have some lightweight chairs in the library. I can bring those out too. I'll bring them out.
Cool.
Can you spread out along the side, like by the fountain area, like where the fountain is covered, that area? Would you be able to spread out enough?
Oh, that's a good thought. I don't know if we haven't. It would depend on how many people came.
Yeah,
Honestly.
that might work.
Yeah, that's a good thought. I never think about that area. Okay.
Supposed to be 61 and sunny on Tuesday,
Woof.
which means
Yeah,
by
bring blankets,
6:30
marshmallows.
probably be a little below 60, but who knows?
Well, I thought about like, would the city let me bring my fire pit? You know.
We got a portable one. We'd be glad to.
Marshmallows and chocolate?
Yeah, right.
Well, let's keep in touch on that, Jennifer.
Definitely. Yeah, I'll send an emails like closer to when the weather reports are going to be maybe more accurate.
Well, I'm glad you were not inundated like the spring break people in Florida. I assume your staff was dressed more appropriately, but yeah, I think I know I had done a check just looking around at different libraries, about 6 in the area, and what they were doing. It looks like we're kind of in sync with them as far as going, 6 o'clock and curbside and not many people and that kind of thing. I was just curious what they were doing. And do you hear anything more from the consortium or county or anybody as far as the next step that's going to be taken soon? Or
No, no. I feel like they, it's still pretty new for this one, so I haven't heard. The county has been really good about keeping us in the loop, though, when they do, because I feel like they're kind of our, I don't know, they're so large and they're so close that if they do need to make a different move, then they'll keep us informed.
yeah, years from now, when we look back on this whole thing, people will say the mistake people made was loosening restrictions too fast in some of these states, and
Yeah,
some of them
that's
are
the
different.
worry.
Yeah. Okay, any questions for Jenna? If not, thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for the report. Let's go to old business and the goal subcommittees, and I know not all of them have been meeting or have had stuff to do in the last month, but we'll just go through it. as far as the lease, I think we're still kind of settling into the agreement with the city, and I had meant and hoped to have at least a Zoom meeting with the subcommittee, but after our discussion tonight, we may have a little bit more to talk about, so we'll see. Accounting, Lynn, Jeanette, and Jenna, what's happening with that? Anything? You want to wait till your report on the financial?
Sure.
Yeah, I don't think we have much, do we? I mean, say
No.
when. Oh, yeah. The
And-
only thing we're working on right now is just the investment money, like an investment account. So
Okay, and as far as the contact with the city, would you remind me who is our contact now with the city?
well, Gina Jarvis is working part-time, but they're still hiring, so I'm just kind of like, I feel like I'm just kind of waiting. Waiting
Yeah.
till the new person is in to, like, I'm not gonna even ask them for invoices or anything at this point, because yeah.
And
It's-
Jim, the one who kind of wrap things up, he's what I teach, he's history, right?
Oh yeah, he was long gone.
Okay.
Yeah. Long gone.
Okay. Let's move on to the safety plan, and my understanding is that, Cindy, you were going to say that the committee's kind of studying a few things before reporting next month?
Yeah, basically, it's just that we haven't done any real revising or writing up anything new, but been looking a lot at different libraries, local libraries, out of state, other cities, and kind of looking at what they're doing with their safety and emergency plans. And so sort of trying to get kind of an overview of what's possible. So we really don't have anything major to report other than we're still investigating. And I think by next meeting in May, we'll probably have more progress to share with you, and hopefully we'll have some things going by that time.
Yeah, I'd
So-
say as we get ready for reopening to the public.
Yeah.
And especially those crazy teenagers.
Yeah.
We probably want to be a little more solid on that, but that's great.
Yeah.
Reopening, we've already talked about it some. Jenna and Kelsey and Kathy R., did you have anything else you want to add to what we talked about? Doesn't sound like it. Okay.
No.
All right, the facilities subcommittee, we did meet in March. We're not meeting in April. We're going to meet in May. Cindy, you want to give a quick rundown on some of the things we did? And like I said, there will be more discussion in our executive session.
Yeah. Well, basically, the notes that I sent out to everybody, hopefully you all got them a couple weeks ago, just about the sort of the important things that we discussed. And basically, I wanted to say, it's too bad Gary isn't here, but I really wanted to point out that Gary had done a boatload of work on those needs assessment and the worksheet he did. And he has put a lot of work into that. I really wanted everybody to know that how much that was appreciated. So if you see Gary, tell him, hooray, thank you. The other was the staff survey, and I wanted to actually just follow up with that. That is, I think, was a real highlight that Sarah and Kathy put that survey together. It was just wonderful, and I really want to, Jenna, if you'll pass on the kudos to the staff, because they really worked hard, I think, in trying to come up with thoughtful suggestions and ideas and concerns about what could be, what is, and what hopefully will someday be a really, really where we want it to be. The other thing I think last was just the 3 plans I had set out in the bottom of the note page, that we are hiring or trying to look for and hire a library consultant to help us look at what we have and what we need in the future coming up. And I guess it's Jenna and Sarah, are you the ones two people doing that part? Okay.
Yes, yeah. Sarah Palmer and I.
Yeah. And then Sarah and Kathy did also a really great job on that survey, and they are going to modify the survey to be appropriate for the board members to take it ourselves. And then finally, Ed was meeting with Mayor Dimon. I don't have that report, but I think Ed probably could fill us in if you need to. The informal and yet, what was the informal and
Dignified.
meeting with Mayor Dimon.
Some of
So
you have trouble connecting that word with me, but we'll go with it anyway. And that will be part of our
So-
executive session. So
yeah. Okay. So our next meeting, the next facilities meeting is May 24th. So that's all I have on that.
okay. Any questions on that? Okay, thank you. The next item of old business was the employee handbook. And last time we had a very thorough and good discussion. And I know Jenna and Lori went back and took all of our thoughts, threw them all together in a pot and came up with some more thoughts. And here's what I would like to suggest for tonight as we talk about these, is I know that you all have worked very hard on this, and I think we all have some good thoughts and recommendations. I would like if we could try to reach a consensus tonight, but not necessarily approve it or finalize it tonight, because I think there'll be, again, so much talked about that maybe we kind of need to step back and then finalize it next time. But I think we can hopefully reach a consensus of, yeah, this is what we want to do. Can you change this wording or that wording? And then my thought is that by May, we should be able to finalize and wordsmith it. So with that thought, Jenna and Laura, you want to take it away? You sent us a great memo with all kinds of highlighted stuff. Well, it's my part is highlighted. I don't know if you're.
There was one highlighted section because I thought, oh, this is kind of different. I kind of added this. It's a little new, so I wanted people to see it. We were gonna ask Ed if maybe we could, before a lot of discussion comes up, maybe we could see if, people want to decide between option A and option B, if that's feasible. And then, from there we can kind of decide, do we want to go by the anniversary date, or do we want to adopt the accrued method? That didn't sound right, but accrual. The crude method. And then we could get into the sticky details. I don't know. Does that sound like, do you think we would be able to?
I guess first of all, were there any objections to the definitions of exempt and non-exempt that were put forth? Any thoughts on that? I think you did a good job of clarifying that, and that'll need to go in the policy. It's not in there right now, I think. Is that right, Jenna?
They're not in there now.
Okay. Well, that'll be good.
Yeah. Yeah, really the big change was the giving the examples of the accruals, because they felt like that really was the part that people were having the most problems with, I think, if that's fair to say. So I thought by adding that example, that might give us more, it might make it, make us come to consensus.
So you're looking at option A, the vacation time, and you want to talk about.
Oh, sure. So option A basically is kind of keeping what we do now. And then option B is where we split into exempt and non-exempt categories. And I think that was the only difference. Now that I'm.
Yeah, that's the only difference. So it's just that offering the exempt hires the added benefit of getting a little more vacation time because of their professional certification or education. So
Yeah.
we just thought that'd be best to kind of get that out of the way before we get, as you said, get down to the details. So if anybody has any strong opinions on changing that or keeping it the way it's been before, I guess is the question.
Any thoughts?
I think it's very difficult to have multiple vacation policies, and I would go with just one policy for everybody. I think at least it should be, the professional people should have that reflected in their pay already. They should be being paid more than, the exempt should be paid more than the non-exempt anyway. So I don't know why we need to add a different vacation schedule to it.
Well, I will say that, I mean, we do pay competitively. And if other, if our, I would say
I don't
we would
know.
need to be
I don't know if it's
competitive
that.
with our time off too. I feel like, for a professional, they only have 2 weeks for, the first how many years? It seems like not a lot.
It's actually very standard.
Yeah.
2 weeks is standard until about 5 years, sometimes even longer.
In which industry?
In just about every industry I talk to.
Or like government and.
Can I clarify something first of all? And the handout that you sent us on page 1, which at the top reads 3/17/2021. At the bottom, you've got option A, and then on the next page, you've got option B. Those are kind of what you're proposing, am I right?
Right.
And then the second page says current vacation sick leave. And so for the next few pages, that's what we have currently. And then later I see an option A 6.2 vacation time. That's like on page 4. Is that the new proposal? Am I right?
Yeah, so that's option A is what it would be.
Okay, that's with more details, right?
Right.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to be sure.
Yeah, this is just a writing up of it.
Okay. I did notice in option A, I guess is under PTO, that there isn't an after 1 year category like there was.
I messed up, I think, when I copied and pasted. It's in the option B.
Okay, yeah, I saw it in option B. That's
Yeah.
why you'd have it in option A too, right?
Yeah,
Okay, all right. I just want to be sure.
there should be. Yeah.
Okay. And then the option B, the vacation times are, the amount of vacation earned is the same as in option A. Non-exempt employees is the same as in option A, right? I just want to make sure. Okay,
It's,
okay.
I'm so confused. I'm just gonna say.
what do you think?
Well,
Okay.
first off, when I printed it, it fell out of the printer, so I have pages and all kinds of things.
Dude, I
first
didn't number
off-
the pages. Sorry.
No, I can't. Yeah, so I'm like trying to figure it out. Okay, first thing, is vacation going to be called PTO?
No,
Okay, so what happens if someone has to go to a funeral?
we have a
There's
funeral
no
leave
leave.
policy.
Okay, all
It's in
right.
a separate section of the handbook.
Okay. All right.
We do have PTO for part-time. That's what we were proposing.
Yeah. Instead of having sick and vacation for part-time, it would just be PTO.
But there is a sick section, a 6.36 leave. Oh God, I can't talk. Sick leave is what we're proposing for the sick section, and then vacation. So it's not PTO. It is still vacation and sick time for full-time folks.
So
Basically, the differences are the first one is one set of vacation times for everybody who is full-time. And then the option B gives the exempt, non-exempt vacation times are different. Both of them have the accrual and the anniversary date as examples that we would need to choose. But I guess the difference is, do we want to do the exempt and non-exempt vacation in option B or option A, which is more similar to what we have now, and is just a straight, you work this long for everybody, then you get this much time. Does that make sense?
Except for the director. The director always has a different vacation.
Right.
So we kind of already do it to a certain extent. It's just with one position instead of like what, 4 exempt employees, I think?
Yeah.
Jenna, could you, and Lori, could you explain how many people are falling into the category on option B? The exempt.
Sure. There are 3 who are exempt. There are 2 who are non-exempt. 2 of the employees, really, I mean, at this point, it would just affect one person because one person's been there so long that it wouldn't matter. And the other person would be me, and I already have like a different, mine is just the same. It's just moved over. Does that make sense? It's not, mine wouldn't change. The directors wouldn't change, I should say.
Okay, so the primary reason for supporting the addition of option B is to increase the attractiveness of working at the library and to reward people who are working on a more professional basis. Is that the primary reason?
Yeah.
Reasons? Okay. And we're talking about 3, really one person, you said.
Really one person at this moment, yes.
Okay, but you feel that it makes the library sound more professional.
Yeah, it's a bonus. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Definitely.
Then I have no problem with it. I think it sounds fine. Having the option B. Because the amount of time off is the same.
But what if you like cap your, what if you're at the cap of your salary, in that position?
You deal with it.
Okay.
I mean, that's just the way life is.
I'm very confused. So
Me too.
So
I am very confused.
Can I just forget everything you just heard? So there's 2 options. Option 1 is to pretty much leave things the way they are. Everybody earns vacation time on the renewal date and go forth. Option B is to look at employees as exempt or non-exempt and to give better vacation time to give more vacation time to the professional exempt employees in lieu of their education, their experience, whatever it is for that role. So they get more vacation time sooner is essentially what we're saying. And then the non-exempt people accrue it at the rate that it currently sits. That's the difference. Does that make sense?
No, but that's all right.
Okay.
I don't.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay.
But okay, let me ask, is there a difference in the education levels of the folks who are exempt versus non-exempt? Do we have?
Well, it's your position. So the non-exempt are not managers, or the exempt folks are the people who are in a position to make decisions.
Okay, like, so supervisors, do they have bachelor's degrees or
master's
degree? And the non-exempt don't necessarily have a master's or correct?
Correct. I mean, and for a library assistant, you don't have to have a bachelor's. You can have like 60 hours.
For the non-exempt.
Correct.
Okay. Well, having worked in education forever, I'm kind of accustomed to the people who fall into the exempt category are treated a little bit differently from the people who fall into the non-exempt category in terms of benefits. So I don't see a problem with moving to including option B personally. P.S. My pizza just arrived.
So two changes. One is we created a 6-month category to give them 5 days. And the other under option B is to differentiate between non-exempt and exempt employees. But basically, everything kind of changed, stays the same with those two changes. Am I right about that? Or is it
Right.
not and everything? And I'm going to,
Not, the exempt people are getting twice as much vacation right away.
Yeah.
So after 6 months, you get to take 2 weeks off, and after a year, you get a whole month. A lot of places don't even give a whole month after 10 years. That's what I'm struggling with. I think it's excessive.
wait a minute. You said what did you say?
They're getting 20 days after a
They
year of
get-
service. That's a month, plus 12 sick days a year.
20 days after 10 years and 20
After
days
1
after
year.
1 year. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Or do you have an alternative to propose? Of like 5 years or something, or?
I'd go with option A.
Trying to look and see if I can find, I've got like, it's hard, you know, because like different libraries have different. So I was like looking at Kirkwood's to see if I could tell like, you know, what they do and. Like 1 to 4 years, you get 3 weeks.
My God,
And that's for regular folks.
that's
Just full-time folks. I mean, I'm just saying, you know,
I know.
librarians don't get paid a ton. And like vacation, like, you know, benefits, those kinds of things are a way to make it more attractive.
What was your number on exempt employees who would be earning this vacation rate?
What do you mean, like how many?
How many?
I mean, I've got one who would benefit from this.
So is it custom for us to have, other than the director, 2 positions that are exempt? Or is that just staffing right now?
I think it's custom because, you know, normally you'd have like an assistant director or somebody or a head of circulation, that kind of position. And then the children's librarian can sometimes be the manager too. So it's.
I was just curious if, like, in the future, if we had a full staff, it would be what, maybe 4 people would be exempt, not including the director? Because like I said, the director is already different from everybody else.
Actually, I think 3 would be a lot in
Would be
our
the
size
most?
library.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, it would be 3 is probably the most.
Okay, I was just curious. Because that
I
puts a
could see it
context
going
to
to
it for
4
me.
though, I guess, if we had like if we had an assistant director, we had a children's librarian, you know, the assistant director was like the circuit. You know, there are, I
Yeah.
guess I could see it happening with 4. But
Okay, I was
you
just
know,
curious. I was just curious to see how many people this would affect at most.
Yeah, I feel pretty safe with the 3, honestly, though. So.
Well, let me put a basic question out there. What is the feeling or consensus about the categorization into exempt and non-exempt? Does this make sense? Is this something that we all agree on. And then
Are you
getting,
talking about the definitions?
pardon me?
Ed, are you talking about the definitions for those terms?
Or the options.
Yeah. Are we comfortable with which? The definitions or the options?
Well, just the option B is the one that divides it into the two. So I think that the definitions, I assume, come from other places, and that's a common industry.
Okay.
So what we would be doing if we adopt option B with the exemption and exempt and non-exempt is we're setting up two different categories. Are we comfortable doing that in our library? I think that's a question we have to agree on. Not everybody at once.
Well, I hope that recorder's going.
It is, it is. You
That
see it
again?
in the.
Cindy, say it again.
I said, I hope that recorder is still going.
Yeah.
YouTube thing. Please.
Well, then it's the devil is in the details. If we accept that a library, a professional library with a professional staff is logically divided into exempt and non-exempt, then, like I said, the devil in the details, how does that play out, you know, for vacation time, sick leave, etc. I certainly don't have a problem with differentiating between my son Jackson and you, Jenna, as far as and things like that. And you know, professional training and everything like that. I think again, how do we implement it so that it recognizes the professionalism of the staff and also keeps your morale at a good level, at a good place?
Yeah.
Because when I look at exempt employee, like I think was it Len or somebody said after 1 year getting 20 days,
Mm-hmm.
and then a non-exempt, it takes 10 years. Then I think that could be a problem that you would have to deal with. Because in a small library, a lot of you do overlapping work, I think. I don't know, I'm just throwing those out there as how you would be able to work with that and make that work for the library. Jeanette, you seem like you're wanting to.
I am, and I'm good at this stuff, so this makes me upset. Okay, so if someone works full-time,
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand, I don't think full-time, I don't care exempt or non-exempt, full-time is full-time to me. And that all those people could get the same amount of days. Or whatever. What concerns me is that doesn't really bother me. Because, but if you're a part-time person, then the amount of, well, you don't get vacation day. Is it true?
Well, we were hoping to add the PTO for if you work 20
okay,
hours.
okay.
Yeah, over 20 hours.
So right now, if I can, I'm sorry, all the pages are mixed up here. After 1 year of service, currently you get 10 days off. With the new proposal, you get 20 days off?
No, not just for managers. Can I just say that? Like managers? I don't know, like, you know. Like,
Because this says exempt employees. So
right. Those
that,
are the people that don't get overtime. And those are the people that like work, you know, and get the job done. And like, even if they have to work more hours than normal.
okay, so are there full-time non-exempt people?
2.
And those full-time non-exempt people get paid for every minute they work. So they get paid by the hour. So they get paid overtime. So if it takes them an extra 5 hours to do a job they've been given that week, they get time and a half for those 5 hours. An exempt employee doesn't get anything extra for working all that time. It's just part of their
How
duty to
many
get
of
the
our
job done.
exempt employees work overtime?
You mean like I have to like if they have to go in when they're the manager on duty and, you know, there's a problem and they have to go in.
Mhm.
You know, it's just like it's a fact of what you have to do.
I understand that, but in a given month, how often does that happen?
I don't know, and we don't keep track.
And I'm
So,
sure this year wouldn't be a good example of that.
Oh, well, yeah, for sure,
so
for sure.
regardless if it's exempt or non-exempt, I now have a little better understanding. After 1 year, somebody gets 4 weeks of vacation?
You know, this is like, that's not, you know, that's, okay, so that's a
I'm
detail.
just asking. I'm just asking.
Yes, I mean, that's what I think would be fair for a professional, or 3 weeks. I mean, but you know, I guess it's do we want to decide exempt and, you know, non-exempt should be treated differently in the handbook, or everybody the same? The only
Yeah,
problem,
I think-
the reason why I, you know, introduced it to begin with is because we do have people who are exempt who, you know, I don't think it's fair to like say, you know, you have all of this work to do. You have done this stellar job, but you can't, you know, all you're given is like 2 weeks of vacation until you've been here 5 years. So if we could like, you know, to me, it's just not right.
But we're already looking at changing that to 3 years. Right? Option A, and even in option B, it's 3 years instead of 5 years. So we're already increasing that.
You're right. Yeah.
So
And I think the other thing that we're trying to say is that don't get caught on the numbers. We're just wondering if we should be giving a little bit more to the exempt employees, so that to respect their professional, their education, their time, their experience. So maybe it's not 20 days after a year. Maybe it's a different number of days. But the fundamental question is, should there be 2 categories, I guess, for it? That's really what we're asking.
Thank you, Lori. Yeah, that's it.
Differentiating between the director and the other employees. I think we all understand that. We hire somebody with professionalism and background in training and leadership abilities and expectations of a lot of extra work and everything. I think with our size library, it might be harder to make the other distinction. I'm not sure. I'm kind of on the fence myself on this, but
Okay.
um,
So like now I'm just like, well, where do y'all stand? Are you A or are you B?
I am. I think, am I right? Those of you who have spoken up or not, that the 20 days after 1 year for exempt employees other than the director is a sticking point?
It's a lot of time off.
it is. And because it's such a small library, it makes it even harder to have 2 separate policies for just a handful of people. We'll have 3 separate policies for a handful of people, because we'll have our part-timers, we'll have our exempt, and we'll have our non-exempt. And
Okay.
it seems like it would be much easier to just have 1 vacation policy.
Is there a knowledge among the different employee levels about what we're talking about? Do they share that information somehow, knowing how much time everybody gets, and how does that?
Well, it's
I mean,
in
what
the
do you know
handbook
about
that everybody gets a copy of.
Yeah, it would be just, yeah, it's
Isn't
handbook
the
number.
difference that some are hourly employees and some are not out salaried employees? And that it's just understood that the hourly employees get paid, they get compensated for every hour they work, and the salaried employees don't.
Right.
So Jenny, you asked where we stand. I stand with option B and recognizing the distinction between salaried and hourly staff. So that is, that you want to know where we stand, that's where I stand. Thank you.
And just so you know, I work in a nonprofit. I had to look it up because I couldn't remember. And our exempt level employees for 0 to 9 years get 20 days. So the minute you're hired as an exempt employee, you get 20 days vacation. So,
Wow.
and exempt employees usually have a master's or a PhD. So it's the compensation.
Currently, it takes 15 years under our system, our policy to get 20 years, right?
Currently.
Yeah.
Oh, man, now I'm like, I have to look. There's so many numbers. I don't even know what we do now.
And I mean,
It is 15 years for 20 days.
Yeah.
Well, no, the new proposal is that we change it to 10 years.
10 years for
Either
20
A
days.
or B.
That's right. Thanks.
Bye, honey.
Thanks.
does, are we all okay on the PTO option of
Yes.
paid time off? We got the 6 month, we got the 1 year, 3 years and 10 years with 2 days, 5 days, 8 days. Does that sound reasonable to everybody? I'm trying to get some victories for us here, some agreements. Does that make sense? Or Jeanette, did you have a?
No, I'm still confused. Part-time PTO, I'm looking at that. And the numbers you just read off are not the same numbers that I have in front of me. Are we talking part-time PTO?
Part-time PTO,
Yes.
and I think it's under.
Yeah.
I
Look
can't-
in option B, because I left out the 1 year evidently on the,
Yeah, I think the option.
Oh, yeah.
Option E are the same. They just left off the 1 year under option A. But I think they're the same. And
yeah, they're the same.
Okay,
I
well,
just, we just wanted to adopt part-time PTO. So it would be the same option A or option B.
Okay,
Yes, I'm okay with that.
and how about sick leave? Does anybody have a question or concern about sick leave 6.3? It accumulates at 1 7.5 hour day per month, up to 12 per year, accumulate up to 64 days. I'm sorry, I'm on the last page.
Yeah, I did change that to fall in line more with the other libraries, because
Yeah.
ours was like you couldn't accumulate.
Let me tell you one, I don't know if it's a concern or a question, and that is that we are using the term probationary period to be 6 months for hiring and 3 months for sick leave. And I'm wondering if we need to be consistent, which would mean maybe stretching sick leave probationary up to 6 months instead. Is that a concern? I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. If someone needs to be sick, I would rather they be sick.
I don't know if we have to have them the same or not, but I just raised that as if anybody else have a concern, or does it make sense to have 2 different probationary periods for purposes of vacation and sick leave?
well, if they're sick, they should take off. So I don't mind the 3 and the 6.
Okay,
Yeah, and I think that was our concern, was we don't want people who work in a public sphere to come in sick.
no.
Yeah, so I think we don't want to discourage them from,
Okay.
we don't want to encourage them to do that, I guess, is what we're saying.
And wordsmithing where it says employees should not be eligible to receive, it should be use. Because they're getting it, but they're not using it.
Oh, right, yeah.
That's on the last page under 6.3. It should be.
I don't know what page it is. It's
Yeah.
6.3.
Page 7.
The second paragraph under that sick leave. So
Yes,
Okay.
that's,
We're all agreed on that. Consensus on use. Okay.
Okay, and then this is wordsmithing. I can wordsmith, I just don't understand it. The last sentence, it says there's a 1 hour minimum on sick leave for use of sick leave.
Sure.
Debate. And I think it's probably from where I came to work that if you're going to get, why if sick leave, this is a philosophical question, I think. If sick leave is for use when you're sick, then why do you get paid for it when you leave?
I don't think they
You
do.
don't.
They don't. Next to last paragraph, they do not receive payouts for accrued sick leave.
Who are terminated.
Yeah, but that means your termination is just you're done with the
It
library.
doesn't mean fired here, it just means. that-
Yeah, termination is you don't work for the library anymore.
Okay, that's not what that says to me, and I'm a math person.
Well,
So
It's
Well-
voluntarily terminate.
People who leave the employment of the library or something like that.
Sure.
yeah, because I was thinking someone's going to accumulate 64 days and walk away with that money, and that's not okay.
No.
No, it says you will not be eligible to receive payouts for sick leave.
Okay, but the terminated from the library who leave the something.
Leave the employment of the library.
Yeah.
Maybe. Okay.
Yeah, that's something like that. But that to me said, if you get fired, you couldn't do that. And I don't
think
mind.
That's our HR speak. It's like termination is any leaving of employment.
Okay, so the 64 days is so if you get really sick, you're not going to walk away with 64 days. Okay, that's okay. Because I was
or
having
pregnant.
real issue with 64 days of payout. Okay,
Okay,
Or paternity. Yeah.
cleaned up.
I think we've got some agreement on some smaller areas, but there's some major issues. What I'd like to do is, because it's running late, is I would like to have Jenna and Lori and Jeanette and myself meet and try to iron out what we think will be a recommendation, just based on all the arguments that have been made. If that, does that make sense? So we can come back the next time, maybe meeting some of the objections. I don't want to get everybody involved again, but maybe we can wordsmith it out.
So, but I don't have a feeling where everybody feels about non-exempt or exempt. I can't combine something if I don't know how everybody feels.
I'm gonna send out
I mean, I would rather just do just rather take A with the, as Lynn said, we're changing it to the 3 years, 15 days. That's better than, nothing. I don't know, Lori, am I, what am I like giving in just for getting something done? I might be.
I think if it's too big of a roadblock for some people to get over, I think, part of me, I also think that people who, the benefits that people are looking for now in jobs isn't always about how much I get paid. It's about flexibility. It's about time off. I think that is something generationally that people have talked about. I think some of that's malarkey. So I think that's part of the reason we really were thinking about this, to attract the employees, to keep the employees. But if it's a roadblock and we can't quite get there, I'm fine with option A, or I'm fine with, like Ed said, sitting down, and maybe Ed could send an email. People could respond to him with their opinions one way or another, so we can get a feel for the group. But we don't need to, we can take it to a sub meeting and then bring it back next time if that works best.
Kelsey, go ahead.
Can you still not hear me?
I can hear you.
We can.
Okay, all right. So I'm sorry, I hadn't said anything yet because I was kind of waiting for there to be a vote. I thought we would vote on it. But I just to like state my, position, I am in favor of making a distinction between the exempt and non-exempt employees. And it's basically for the reason that Lori just articulated. I think it makes sense to, reward, I guess, that additional level of expertise and maybe education and responsibility. And I think that, you know, people care about more than just salary. So this is a way to accommodate that. Just wanted to put in my 2 cents. That's it.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question going back to last year when we did the salary discussions? What level of the county scale did we opt to change our salaries to? We didn't go for the top quartile. Didn't we go for the bottom quartile? Does anybody
Did.
remember?
We have some people who are already at their top. Like, so that's,
the top of the county, the comparison.
well, it wasn't just a one, it was like a composite of
Mhm.
it was a comparison, like a market study of different libraries with the same similar size and money, you know, how much money we.
So it wasn't uniform across all the employees that we attempted to raise salaries up to a certain level.
Yeah,
I
no,
thought
it
we
was
went-
for most, I guess, but not for the but not for the more professional, I guess, let's say.
Yeah, the people that all had the same title at the hourly level, but were full time. I think we kind of evened them out to the mid, as I
Yeah.
recall.
It was the mid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember it like that, but
As I
that's fine.
recall.
Okay, yeah.
That's my
I thought
best
we
memory.
I thought we were below.
We didn't push
like in the
it.
bottom quartile. But regardless,
Mm.
thank you. I just wanted to know that because I think that matters a little bit of like some other board members have mentioned that it's not just about the salary, it's about recognition of your skills and the investment in your education. That's all.
You want me to look it up?
I guess my point is if we were directing those salaries to the bottom quartile, then I feel like it should be okay for us to be a little more generous in terms of this policy. So I guess, yes, it would be good to know if we boosted folks up to the midline or if we boosted them up to the bottom quartile.
Okay, let me see if I can.
There's other thoughts right now? I agree that we don't necessarily have a huge consensus as clear as we would like it. But I would like the four of us to try to come back in May with maybe after some good discussion among us, what we think we can sell to the Congress. How's that? You know, and one that makes sense not only for our staff, but for our library and what they do every day and for attracting new people and for what the future might hold. And I will send something out to all the board members with some basic questions and try to get feedback. And I think then the four of us, Jenna and Lori and Jeanette and I can get together and wordsmith the heck out of it or whatever we need to do. But I would like to see if we can reach some kind of consensus. Any other thoughts on that? This is a very tough process, and I really appreciate what Jenna and Lori have done. Like, you know, if it weren't for the board members, we'd have this done by now. But I think it's important to have this kind of input. So
Yeah, it's hard. You know.
well, it is, and what we love about Brentwood Library also makes it very hard because it's a small library and the staff all know each other and there's a lot of overlap. I'm sure you see overlap every day with some of the things that happen. And how do you make sure that it's an appropriate distinction and reward and recognition, and at the same time, you keep people happy with where they are. So I think that's something for us to think about.
Okay. We'll just add another Zoom meeting to you.
What's that?
We'll just add another Zoom meeting for you, Ed.
Oh, you hardly wait. Oh, come on. It's okay. All right, let's move on to treasurer's report.
Okay. I did reach out to Gina Jarvis. Let me see what she, basically she's working part-time. She's trying to keep up with the day-to-day functions of the city hall, and she's trying to work on the year-end audit information. We're on the top of her list after that. So, it is her desire to get the balance sheet figured out as soon as she can, but she's trying to do a full-time job in half the time. So I don't know how successful that's going to be, how long it's going to take for that to get caught up.
But they haven't sent us bills for anything, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
We've only had January.
Okay.
And we still, like I said, we still don't have a corrected December balance sheet. So things look a little wanky. The good news is we are running under budget, as we have been. We're running about 2/3 of the budget. So just for the month of March, we are basically saving $20,000. And we are significantly lower. Gee, what a surprise. We're significantly lower than a March of last year. About $12,000. Because we didn't buy any books this year. But some of that just is a month-to-month variance. We might get the bill and get it paid in March this year, and we'll get it paid in February next year. So on our balance sheet, the big thing is the fact that we have $1.9 million in the checking account. And we do need to figure out how to get that into an investment account. Unfortunately, I am a little bit swamped and I'm not able to participate in that at the moment. I get to work until middle of May. Because of the December balance sheet not being correct, it looks like we have, on our balance sheet, it says we have a negative $750,000 in accounts receivable. Only because the revenue never got booked. We did get, I want to say our revenue is about $925,000 for 2020, and we've collected 730. So we've already collected 80% of our revenue by the end of March. So I think that's pretty good. I know they were talking it could take longer than that, but I think that's that we're in pretty good shape with that. So other than that, there's no major category that's really out of whack at all. We're looking good financially. We just need to, now of that 1.9, obviously we're going to put a bunch in the investment account, but some of it is going to be set up to be our capital reserve. We'll have about $600,000 in the capital reserve or operating reserve. Because that's a guideline that we've had with the state that we haven't really acknowledged with the books in the past, but we can do that now on a much more easily. So that basically allows us to go a whole year without needing additional income, should it come to that.
Very good. Anybody have any questions? I know we're anxious to get those year-end reports, but Len, you've made a lot of progress. I think we're really getting there. So thank you very much.
And Elliot Perk has been very responsive to any request, and she's been following up with us. There's a couple of items from the city that don't quite tie out, and she's been following up with us on that too. So it's been a very good relationship with them. I'm pleased with that.
That's good. Well, thank you for all the work you put into that. So when you retire, as they say, any questions on the financial reports, treasurer's report? Okay, new business. By the bylaws, we are to elect officers in the month of May, which is next month at the meeting. Lynn is termed out as far as being on the board, so she will be leaving us for at least a little while, you know, as treasurer and a board member. And it's no secret, in case you don't know, that Jeanette has agreed to be an exempt employee and to take on the treasurer's position. But what I would like, I'm appointing a nominating committee. I would like 2 board members to basically submit a slate of officers for the next meeting. And so are there 2 people who are interested, would be willing to submit a slate of officers? We're, you know, the current officers you'd have to contact and make sure that they still want to do it, or if not, somebody else would want to do it. Anybody interested in serving on the nominating committee?
I will.
Was that you, Lori?
I'll do it.
That was Cindy.
Cindy?
me.
Anybody else?
Yeah,
Kathy? Okay. If Cindy,
please.
Cindy,
Only if you keep yourself on as secretary.
if you
I
would,
will, I'll help too.
Okay, and
Did
just
you say
because,
Kathy?
and
Was it
just
Kathy
because
that said that?
Yes,
I don't know
it was
who-
me.
And just because I volunteered to be treasurer doesn't mean somebody else can't step up to the plate. Just in case,
Right.
just in case.
A runoff.
Yeah, a runoff, oh my gosh.
my mailbox was stuffed with applicants for treasurer. You're right.
So that means there's a vice president opening.
Yeah, mm.
If the 2 of
Oh, boy.
would contact the current officers and other board members to see who might be interested. It does not have to be an uncontested slate. It can be contested. And after I keep you late again tonight, it will be contested, I'm sure. But anyway, so Cindy and Kathy, if you'll do that work and then let me know before the next meeting so we know what to put on the agenda, that'd be great. Thank you. And that doesn't mean that either of you cannot be nominated, okay? Public comments?
Read.
Any more public comments? I don't see any. All right. We need a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Who is
Jeanette.
that?
Jeanette,
Kathy?
Moved and seconded. Roll call vote, I think we have to do on this.
Yes, we do. Gosh. I forgot how to do roll call vote.
Ed goes first
Ed,
and Jeanette goes second. Yes.
yes.
Then you go. It's officer.
Yes,
first.
I go. Kathy,
Yes. Me?
pardon me? What'd you
Yes.
say? Okay. And Lynn
Yes.
and Angela,
Yes.
are you muted?
She said
I'm on-
yes.
Yes.
Kelsey?
Good idea.
Okay, and